Scandinavian Bob here, hi. Today I'm going to answer some common questions I get about PMO addiction and rebooting. First question. I'm trying to fix my PIED and I have a girlfriend. Is it possible to recover if I keep busting with her during my reboot? What's your take on this? Yeah, so the general advice for PIED is to try to stay away from busting in the beginning of your reboot. Most guys seem to need a complete break from it in the very beginning. Now, there are indeed also many guys who have recovered while busting, but even they seem to recover from their PIED a bit faster if they take the first 1 to 3 months off or at least drastically reduce the amount of busting. Now, how long should you avoid it then? Well, since it's different for everyone, you have to be willing to experiment a bit with your reboot. As long as you apply zero tolerance to adult sites, you can later on start trying to bust a few nuts here and there and then see how your body reacts. A good way is to monitor your morning wood and your S-drive in general. But be aware of the fact that the day after busting, you often get false morning wood and drive. Let's say, for example, you were to monitor for 14 days after you bust. Well, I often noticed myself that the first day was great with strong and solid morning wood. Then my drive and morning wood the following days became even worse than before I tried busting. And this was when I was not yet fully recovered. If that happens to you, then you know that it's a bit too soon for you to start busting again, in which case you should reboot some more before trying again. If you on the other hand notice the same quality or even higher quality of morning wood and drive for a period of 2 to 3 weeks after you tried busting, well, then you can probably start doing it more frequently. This is what I mean when I say you have to be willing to experiment. And remember, it is possible to make love without busting if you take it real slow. That's actually a great way to rewire as well. Also, if you know it's too soon for you to bust, but you just happen to do so during lovemaking, don't worry about that. It's not like you undo any healing that has taken place. It's just that it might stall your progress for a few days or so. Question number 2. Can I overcome my addiction to adult sites if I keep drinking alcohol? Well, yes, it is possible, just as long as you are not drinking too much of it. However, you need to know that you are most certainly not making it easier for you. Now, you didn't tell me if you are addicted to alcohol or not, but even if you're not, you should know that alcohol weakens your PFC, which is the very control center of your brain. Of course, it's up to you, but if you do decide to drink during your reboot, at least try to limit your use to max 1 to 2 drinks per sitting. And even then, know that there is a slight increase of relapse. In addition to that, here's something to consider for you. It was the mindset of wanting instant gratification that drove you to adult sites in the first place. Well, alcohol is also instantly gratifying. This means that with alcohol you keep feeding that mindset. You just use another way of doing so. Now, I'm not saying we can never go for instant rewards. We most certainly can. And sometimes it can even be good for us. But I am saying that the guys who have the most success during a reboot are those who start practicing habits that strengthen delayed gratification. Question number 3. Do I have to do nofap in order to become confident? Well, of course not. There are guys who keep aiming and are still very confident. That said, if you are addicted to it and addicted to online adult entertainment, you will have a dysfunctional dopamine system, and that will indeed hold you back emotionally and in several other ways as well. If so, it becomes much more difficult to have high self-esteem, confidence, and a well-functioning brain in general. Question number 4. Why is edging to adult sites so bad? Well, it's bad because you keep yourself right on the edge of busting, and it's right there where your dopamine levels are at their highest point. And you should know that dopamine is also a learning chemical. This means that whenever dopamine is high, your brain is a learning machine. And if you are then during that time feeding your brain with adult sites, you are literally teaching your brain how to become more aroused by pixels on a screen than by real life people. And yes, that can quickly create PIED. And of course, since you can keep edging going for hours at a time, it really fries your dopamine receptors, desensitizing your reward system. Question number 5. If you could recommend only one thing for lasting longer in bed while doing nofap, what would that be? It would be slow and deep breathing, not just when being intimate, but all day long, all the time. This is because slow breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system and decreases the activity in the sympathetic part. And it is the second one here that is responsible for you busting too quickly. Alright, I will be back answering more questions in part 2 in just a couple of days. If you need help, then there is also the possibility of doing an online course at your own pace. In order to know what courses I should recommend, I have been checking out a special system, and I really have to say it produces phenomenal results. This is a course using something called habit construction therapy, which is a powerful thing, especially when it comes to quitting addiction to adult sites. And that in combination with the fact that the course is created by a licensed therapist who has personal experiences with having to overcome his own addiction to adult sites. Well, this makes the system work extremely well. It's quite unique, really. So if that's something that could be of interest to you, then I recommend you sign up to a free webinar where Josh Hudson tells you more about the principles behind this method, and then you can decide what to do from there. You can find a link to that webinar right under this video. Just click the link where it says webinar and it'll take you there. I will also include a link to my own coaching down there if you'd rather get coached by me, or then don't do anything with either of us, but do something with someone, because life is too short to waste it on addiction to adult sites. This is Scandinavian Bob signing out for today, and as always, I wish you all the best in your journey to become the strongest version of yourself. And remember, as Winston Churchill used to say, if you are going through hell, keep going.